we have this weird fight now with Natsu and Haku, which again, I wouldn't have seen this fight coming. This is like probably the weirdest matchup that you could have had. I feel like even Laxus versus Haku would have been like more of a foreseeable match. And I don't mean that because like, I've made like the actual fact, it's not even a joke, that Haku should be more powerful than at least current Laxus. We don't know about like obviously where Laxus is going to be by the end of the arc, but he should be more powerful than him. But I think it would have been even more of a kind of more theme savvy matchup if you had the biggest guy there versus the smallest guy there, kind of thing. Then it would obviously be, anybody who just looks at it from the standpoint of like how they look, you'd obviously go with Laxus, but it would be a thing more for Haku to surprise, given how we as readers know how strong he is. But it's Natsu versus Haku, and I think this is a weird fight. I can't tell entirely how Mishima is going to do some of these just by the nature of this whole thing, because this isn't like think of it like a tournament, like I'm just thinking of series, but think of it not as much as like the Grand Magic Games, but something kind of like how the Dark Tournament was in Yu Yu Hakusho, where it was more of like a team fight, and then you pick who goes up there, and it's more about like 1v1s between the teams. Instead, it's a big free-for-all, well, not free-for-all, kind of like a scattered team set of battles. Like they're roaming around trying to find each other to fight while they're looking for Eleftheria's heart inside the labyrinth. And by the nature of that, and by the nature that, like, as we have been put up by Celine, that when it's gonna be until one side is defeated. I'm guessing this is just a guess, but I feel like this just makes 100% logical sense by the nature of Celine. The fact she sees it as a game and how she's kind of described what they're doing is that when somebody loses, they're going to be teleported out, and that with the nature of that being a thing, that could mean that a character who wins a fight is going to remain. So say you have, let's just use an example. Natsu goes up against Mad Mole again. Natsu knows how to beat Mad Mole, so it'd be like Natsu goes and defeats Mad Mole and goes to a new opponent, and Mad Mole is out. So then Natsu would get another fight. But we could get that with other characters. Obviously, this is going to be first set focus on Natsu versus Haku. I'm guessing the next chapter is going to focus on that for probably like 70% of the chapter, and then we'll see some of the other kind of matchups starting. If we don't see any of the other matchups kind of like starting to pair it up in the chapter, it has to be like fully focused on Natsu and Haku, because otherwise, like, what are we really going to see for the other characters? Just them kind of talking. I mean, we could get some funny moments between like the mixed match of like the happy with Panther Lily with Wendy and Carla with Gagio, but you can only do so much with that before it kind of feels weird. Like, I would rather see that while they come up against an opponent rather than them just doing it for their role in the chapter. Obviously, I want to see how their side of the story is going to be progressing. But with Natsu and Haku's is obviously really weird. We don't know exactly what his Slayer type even is. But whatever Haku's attribute is, I imagine we're going to find out in the next chapter. It'd be really annoying if Mishima would show such a weird ability like that tied to a Dragon Slayer. Because if Haku was just a character, I'd be like, oh, his character, like his power, he can turn people into dolls or something. But obviously he's a Dragon Slayer, so this is either the straight nature of how his Dragon Slaying magic works, which would be really weird, or it's a perk. Because we know that all Slayer types have a special perk that comes with their specific branch of the magic. But his is weird. I'm really hoping Mishima just says something about it in the next chapter. That's kind of, to me, the biggest kind of hope. That would be the thing that would bother me the most about next chapter, besides like if Natsu just rolls over Haku, which I would hate because, obviously Haku's at Suzaku's level. But if we don't find anything out about what Haku's Dragon Slaying magic is, like what attribute it is, because I'm guessing the next chapter is going to be again, this is my hopes, fingers crossed, focus on the fight between them and seeing what Haku can do. And Natsu won't pull his punches really against the kid, especially considering this kid's also a Dragon Slayer. And he's also really powerful. We know Natsu will respect somebody's like actual power level and fight them for like actually what they're capable of, instead of just being like, well, he's still a kid. It's like, no, that's not what Natsu's going to be doing. But I can imagine like maybe if Haku tries to exploit the fact he's a little kid, but he doesn't seem like somebody that would do that. Again, we don't know much about him, so it's kind of hard to say. But the fight between them, I'm definitely hyped for it, because obviously Haku is going to be really cool. But also, we haven't seen Natsu fight in a long time. Like, actually fight. We, like, during the whole of Elentier, he really just kind of scuffled with some random nobody monsters and stuff. Mishima definitely focused on the other characters more over than Natsu, which I can understand. You know, he gets a lot of spotlight. He's the main character. So, giving... I mean, Lucy's, like, the co-main character, but, I mean, like, Natsu's, like, if you had to pick one, he is, like, the head main character. But, like, Lucy ended up getting a lot of stuff in Elentier. So did Wendy, and then Urza and Gray even got their moments too. So like Natsu getting something more in a big Dragon Slayer battle, I think is more of a like a golden opportunity for Natsu to get some spotlight, rather than kind of like fighting some guys in Elentier that, outside of being interesting characters, weren't too memorable. Whereas like I feel like the Diablos members, Mishima's put a little bit more effort on, because like Mimi, as much as I thought Mimi was fun, I liked her character and I like her design and stuff. But like Mishima gave her like the most boring spiritual artist. So she just has this super physical body, which is still, you know, it's still something. It's still something good. But it's like, damn, when you really look at like the characters in, like she's in the same tier as people like Brandish and Demaria, and Mishima gave her just physical strength. She's probably the weakest person in the whole Spriggan tier. Like anybody that sits in that kind of general area, I think Mimi is definitely the weakest in there. But I mean, like, she's just physical strength. She's kind of like Elfman if Elfman wasn't slow. And without the versatility, I guess I would imagine. But either way, as it's going in this next set, like, a lot of these fights are going to be really intriguing, especially seeing what the three people, like, we don't know exactly what the Dragon Slaying attributes are. I think a lot of people are excited for Suzaku. A lot of the matchups, I'm going to do a video about just the matchups of kind of how I at least see it going. And like I said, I mentioned that the characters could be getting multiple fights, but I'm not going to take that into account. I'll take just in the base idea that we're going to get, like, everybody's going to get a 1-1 fight since it's 7v7. But we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, in terms of, like, actually, like, how it's going to go. I don't see Natsu losing to Haku. I'm hoping Haku can give Natsu a really good fight. I would prefer it if it's inconclusive, because I am one of the people that want Haku to be like Wendy's enemy in this arc. With the fact that you have these two kid prodigy Dragon Slayers. You can have Natsu just kind of like be like a test character to show how powerful Haku and like people on this tier actually is, and then, you know, through whatever happens in, like, maybe like at some point one of them steps on a trap that like Haku gets teleported randomly to a different part in the labyrinth or something. Maybe something like that. We'll see. But either way, tell me your thoughts about how like this next chapter is going to be going. I'm definitely hyped, obviously. I've mentioned before, like, I want to see all these new Dragon Slayers. I'm happy to see my boy fight. I think this arc is looking to be pretty fun. I definitely like the whole setup of it. And again, the idea that the characters, like, if they win a fight, they're going to have another fight, I think is really cool. And it's more of like a last man standing kind of thing rather than a dual tournament. I think this is going to be pretty cool. But anyway, obviously we got to wait. We got to see how things go. Selena's definitely still further making me enjoy her character, and she's doing stuff that every time she's active, I'm having a good time, and it's stuff that really entertains me. But anyway, other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video, friend, like button, subscribe, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.